Chapter 9: A Day at the Races. The first recorded race meeting in Kelso took place at Caverton Edge in 1734. Races were also later held at Blakelaw. The foundation stone of the stand at the current racetrack at Barrymoss was laid on July 12, 1822. It was initially known as the Duke's Course. Today was going to be one of the most important events in Sebastian's life to date. The trip to get here had been simple enough. A 3 or 4 hour train ride to Berwick-on-Tweed from London and then a bus, so as not to raise any questions on the last leg. He felt generally good. All he needed to do now was find a suitable bookmaker, place the bet, and then grab something to eat, while he waited for the end of the race and his inevitable win when the nag came in. The bookmaker turned out to be one Jimmy Daines. The odds were a little longer than Barnaby had suggested. Sebastian wasn't sure why. He hadn't seen this often before, but he liked the possibility of the extra return. "Good day, young fella," said Jimmy as Sebastian walked up to his pitch. "Good morning. I'd like to place a bet, please." "Why, of course. What will it be?" "Well, I won a game of cards last night in the hotel and have £40 burning a hole in my pocket." "What are the longest odds you have?" Sebastian chose to build teasingly good stories so the bookie would rather bite than doubt for a second the apparent throwing away of good money. "Oh, it's like that, is it?" asked Jimmy. "If so, I have this, Lucky Logan. It's a crazy bad bet, if I'm to be honest, but the odds are 250. If it even gets across the start line, though, I'd be surprised." "That will be perfect, thank you, Jimmy," replied Sebastian as he handed over 2 £20 notes, taking the betting slip in exchange. "I'll cross everything and hopefully be back later." As Sebastian turned and walked away, Jimmy called back, "If you want to throw £40 away, you could just have given it to me." Sebastian stopped and turned. As he looked at Jimmy, he said, "Thank you, but what if it comes in?" Jimmy laughed as he said, "If that happens, my wife will hate me for the rest of the year." Sebastian palmed the betting slip in his pocket as if it were the answer to life, the universe, and everything, then pushed it further in and retrieved his hand. He soon found a cafe, took a seat, and read the menu. It was not cordon bleu by any means, but compared to his other street options, this was almost Michelin. He quickly decided that the full English breakfast was not only the most attractive option, but since his stay at the Rochester he was developing quite a taste for the cafe mainstay. As he positively tore through the plate of food and the requisite cups of tea, he kept one eye on the TV to his left, while the aromas and tastes slowly overwhelmed him such that in the end he simply sat there, full, content, and with a strange smile on his face. "Ah, you all right, kid?" asked the cafe owner. Yes, I'm sorry," blurted Sebastian as he came round from his food-induced delirium. A man opposite, reading a paper, dropped it a little, looked up and smiled as he said, "Nothing like a full English, is there?" "No, sir, no, there is not," replied Sebastian. His breakfast was so good, in fact, that he had almost forgot the race. Gathering his few things, he thanked the cafe owner and left to watch the race. The horses were lined up ready to go. It was a 2-lap race, 2 miles 2 furlongs in distance, plenty of time for Lucky Logan to come up trumps. As the race started, Lucky Logan looked as if it would not even start, just as Jimmy had jokingly prophesied. It simply stood there in the gates, pawing the ground. When the gates opened, the bulk of the horses raced off, followed a second or two later by Lucky Logan. The first lap was trouble-free for all, Lucky Logan maintaining state at the rear of the pack. Sebastian started to palm the betting slip again, as if each rub may speed the useless nag up a little. As the second lap wore on, Sebastian began to regret trusting Barnaby. Placing a bet locally that won him big was one thing, but traveling all this way to lose was something Sebastian did not want to consider. In time alone it would be a waste of a couple of days. He just didn't want to think about it. As he struggled with what he thought was a rapidly declining state of affairs, he had once again forgot the race was on. The final lap was closing in on the line. Lucky Logan appeared to be moving through the field, No one around Sebastian could even contemplate how this could be happening, but they were all upset that they too had not simply thrown a £5 at the nag, just in case a miracle had happened. It did appear that a miracle was indeed happening. With the line 100 yards off, Lucky Logan took the lead and romped home a full length ahead of the rest of the field. Sebastian literally could not believe his luck, or was there really more to what Barnaby had said, some truth? Either way, he didn't care. He was now £10,000 up. In a few days he'd gone from nothing to £15,000 on 2 bets, unreal. He quickly found Jimmy and handed him his slip. "Thank you for the tip, Jimmy." "It wasn't a tip, kid," replied Jimmy. "I hope your wife isn't too rough on you, Jimmy," apologized Sebastian. "Thank you, kid, but I think she'll be really pleased," said Jimmy, surprising Sebastian. "Why do you say that?" asked Sebastian, as he took the £10,000 off Jimmy. "Well, to insure against your bet, I put £10 on with each of the other bookies. Not only have I covered your £10,000, I have £10,000 myself. I should be thanking you, kid." "Well, we can both drink to our good fortune." "Thank you again, Jimmy. See you soon." As Sebastian walked away, more questions formed than answers. First, he had to get back to London and talk once again with Barnaby. But he was in no rush, so he'd take his time, make a holiday out of it. He had the phone. If things changed, he could pretty much be anywhere, so he'd take the chance of a break.